Welcome back to the next video for today, and we are learning about the camera in Blender, and so now we'll learn about this. What's this? Oh, I don't care about Vimeo. Okay, so specifying the field of view. When you select the camera object, its settings become visible. Let's hit start here. Okay. When you select the camera object, its settings become visible in the camera context in the properties window. You should initially look like something at the right. Of course, it'll look a little slightly different, being that this is 2.7 or 2.6 something. But you can see the camera. It does here. Let's do that. It does look similar. See, we got lens and we got depth of field and we got, the camera dealy, and I wonder if the camera presets are in here. Center fit. No, the presets are different. Custom, no. Viewport display, nope. I don't remember where. Depth of field, lens. I do remember there's a thing for camera. Motion blur. I don't remember where it's at though. There's a thing for somewhere for your camera presets, but I don't remember where it's at here. Okay, so it says photographers are accustomed to working in terms of focal length of the lens. Longer means narrow field of view, shorter means wider field of view, but the field of view also depends on the size of the sensor. Image capture area. Modern digital cameras typically have a smaller sensor size than the exposed film area in older 35mm film cameras. Thus, the focal length measurements have to be adjusted accordingly in order to give the same field of view. Blender allows you to work this way by specifying the focal length in the lens panel and the sensor size in the camera panel. It even offers camera presets menu, which lets the sensor size, which sets the sensor size for any range of well-known cameras. You might also be doing compositing of your computer-generated imagery on top of an actual photograph, in which case, to make the results look realistic, you need to closely match the characteristics of the camera and lens that were used to take the photo. If you know the lens and focal length of the camera sensor size, it makes sense to be able to plug those values in directly. But if you're doing photo compositing, but generating completely synthetic imagery, if you're not doing photo compositing, you might consider this as somewhat of a roundabout way of working. Why not specify the field of view directly as an angle? Blender allows for this as well. From the pop-up in the lens panel, it says millimeters, select field of view instead, and the focal length field will turn into a field of view, showing the angle in degrees directly. This is much easier to relate to the geometry of the scene. Relationship between the two: if the width of the sensor D is at the focal length of the lens F and the angle of view is what theta or whatever that is, then they are related by this equation. So I don't have any idea about the math here. I don't really here. Camera presets in Blender 2.8. Let's see where they're at actually. Additional camera presets list. Maybe that'll tell me. Been exploring the camera settings in the object data tab and change the camera by selecting. See, I don't know. Let's go to the object here. Transform, relations, collections, instancing, motion paths, viewport display, and then we got all the armory junk down here. Let's there's a constraint. So depth of field, Focus on, oh, interesting. Focus on cube. Interesting. Focus on light. I don't know if that did anything just now. But we can just reset it. Lens, perspective, focal length. But switch it to field of view, and it does the actual. I see. That's cool. Okay, the actual degrees there. Aperture, f-stop, blades, rotation, ratio, camera, sensor fit, sensor width, auto, safe areas, background images, custom properties. Yeah, see, I don't know where that's actually at in Blender 2.8. That's not 2.8 there, anyways. I really wanted to get to the last. What video we're on? We're actually on the second video, right? Okay. That's all right. That isn't there here. So where are the camera presets in 2.8? Where are the actual camera presets, though? Let's minimize this. Let's just Twitter. Where did the camera presets go in 2.8? Where did the camera presets go in Blender 2.8? 2.63 isn't going to help me either. Okay, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and improving your house. This module will define the house model you create, refine the house model you created 2 modules ago. In this process, you'll learn how to access Blender's predefined meshes and how to set pivot point. You also learn to select, extrude, delete, subdivide the edges and faces of a mesh model, which is cool. So adding the ground plane, scaling with a pivot, edge selection, extruding edges, face selection, extruding faces, deleting edges, subdividing faces, final steps. To begin, set Blender as follows. Launch Blender, load the factory settings. Okay, and then probably going to open recent. This awesome house I made. And load the house model. Adjust the viewpoint to clearly see the 2 walls of the house and 2 sides of the roof. 2 walls and 2 sides, which I can. That. Okay. Alright, adding a ground plane. Your house needs some ground to rest on. You can model the ground as an object in your scene. Blender has many predefined mesh objects built in. Happily, one of these is flat, square surface. Recall that objects are added at the cursor. Before creating the ground, you should position the cursor at ground level. Select the house by clicking right mouse button. Enter edit mode. Select one of the bottom vertices by clicking right mouse on it. Bring up the snap menu. Choose cursor to selected. Leave edit mode. by pressing tab so your ground is created as a separate object. There's an align to view setting in the editing tab of user preferences, which is off by default in Blender 2.5x. When this setting is on, the orientation of the new object depends on the current viewpoint. Pre 2.4, okay. I probably don't have to worry about this. I'm not going to worry about it just right now. So I'm going to select the house. Enter edit mode by pressing tab. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so let's go into object mode. Selected it, and let's go back into. Okay. Select one of the bottom vertices by clicking right mouse button on it or left mouse button, as the case may be. Bring up the snap menu by pushing Shift S, which is probably the same. Shift S. There. Oh, okay. Cursor to selected. Okay. That's cool. Leave edit mode by pressing tab. So now I can create the ground as a separate object. Control S. Now create the ground object. Shift A. Choose mesh plane. To scale the ground object, use the scale tool. Make sure Blender's in object mode. Select it. Activate the scale tool. Type the 7 key to enlarge the ground 7 times. Press enter to confirm it. So it says 7 times. Okay, so let's go ahead and Shift A, mesh plane, and I'm going to drive the numpad 7. Oh, nope, the 7 key is not the numpad 7. How do I don't remember. No, that's not it either. How do I return to 5 top? 5 top, okay. And actually, let's just not worry about that. Let's just do this. Okay. Bring this down a little bit. And let's hit the 7 key. Okay, Control Z. Okay, so let's Shift A, mesh plane, scale 7. There. Awesome. Okay. And we'll stop it there, and I'll just go ahead and save it. I'll go ahead and reset this, and we'll go ahead and I will see you in the next video.